I need some money. All right, y'all heard him. I need some money. I think we all do. Okay. Lily's getting fired up over here. I know this background looks a little nervous to y'all, but don't worry, because I got a badge too from Amazon. That's probably where they got their badges from. You don't have a badge, so I'm working now. No, you can't get over here because I'm busy. No, you have to sit down there. Thank you. You're front row. Here, you can have the badge. She wants to chew on the badge. She actually is chewing on it. She over there chewing on it. Okay, you can chew on something else. She has something else to chew on. Okay, welcome to the show. Yeah, okay, y'all already know that. We provide the fire document. You can stop this. Yep, the RICO, yeah, we've got, it's undefeated right now. The RICO eviction foreclosure, yeah, we're gonna drop a little, put the link in there so you got. So we started out. I made this RICO situation going on when I was in Arizona, and about a year ago, and when we figured out that when you do the RICO, say, oh, they don't want to address that. Well, I understand why, because it's exactly what they're doing. And the way we deliver it to them in email with a bunch of other judges and everybody, we make email with everybody's stuff in it. So, and now they're all co-conspirators. And it only takes one person to visualize the shared liability. Pro Se Lawsuit Center, we provide the fire documents that you need, battle tested from the real-time feedback from a bunch of people that in the ring, been in the ring, and didn't have to get in the ring. Now, I know, took a little heat over this picture. I'm going with it anyway, because you know what? Until you get over this or you get your head in a place to, because obviously, I mean, if you've been in the program and this happened, there's only been a couple of people because, they didn't fall, they didn't drop, they dropped, they didn't. But we got people that prevented this. Oh, yeah, I know. The negative people look at this. Oh, my God, Coach, are you making fun of us? Hell no, I got a badge from Amazon just like their asses. No, come on. Work with me here, okay? Yeah, Henry, they was at Henry's house twice. They didn't get to do this to him. At least I didn't, I'm assuming he's still in his, they came back a third time. So I didn't know if he got his lawsuit filed in federal court. Sometimes you don't have to file the federal filing because they just, no. But the program is set up to do what the program does. Henry, we have YouTube videos about Henry and his case. Henry called me from the courthouse one day when he was down there. My allergies are about to kill me today. And I was on speakerphone and I got to holler at them people. That was some fun. And so Henry's still there. Then we got Dr. Honig, man. She's still in her house. She's in California. And in my opinion, California is like the worst place. I'm sorry. Now, Florida is kind of bad, but Florida, I don't think Florida is as big as California. No. What I judged how bad it is by, in California, and I read this a few years back, they have an entire department, sanitation department, something, people that they pay at that time, it was $81,000 a year and clean up poop off the sidewalk and all. That's pretty bad. Don't have to get to that. If you're tired of going to bed at night worrying about these people beating on your door early in the morning and not even giving you a chance to take your stuff out in some places. Is it? Because this picture was put here to represent the people that use this package that are still in the house and they didn't get to do this. You can see stuff both ways. You can. And sometimes you can see it more ways than that. This is my ID right here. I'm thinking about giving this to the police next time they pull me over. Yeah, that's my registration number for CCA when they had me locked up a long time ago, which is the reason why I do what I do now. I keep this right here on my desk every single morning. Every single morning. I look at this to remind myself, no, I'm not talking about the foreclosure stuff. I'm talking about them coming to haul my family or out of 6 or 7 times I've been arrested and hauled out of my house and dragged all the way to Kansas City, 40 miles. One time they made us leave we couldn't take our cell phone. We couldn't take our keys. We couldn't take nothing. What the hell? And then they drove us there. We didn't have a car or keys. A wallet. the money. And in Wyandotte County, we was in a Mexican neighborhood. Well, that's probably was the only good thing about it because you always spend your time in, so many. Yeah, but we lucked out because the attorney that they made take us lived in Lawrence. So, he couldn't go along with what their plan was and just leave us sitting over there. And, they trained me and then we all trained us. Okay, because the training I got from them, we put together with the real-time feedback from a bunch of people that some of them had to go through this. Okay, there's another reason I got this up here too. Oh, come on now. My grandma used to say 2 birds in the bush is worth 3 in the hand, three on the. Okay, I got to get. All right, so there's another reason why we got this. And it's not because I got a badge from Amazon, and we're gonna take a break right now to sponsor Coach Neighbors when he was. The only thing I like about this picture, I looked a lot younger. Okay, so there's something else about this. Okay, so a couple of years ago, I was working on a project for my best friend. Her name was Carrie Jackson Neighbors. You know what we went through. Well, we decided we was gonna go ahead and put her lawsuit together, so she could go ahead. And I kind of like hiding out over here because they know I could come after them anytime. So they ain't trying to mess with me. If they want to come mess with me, they can bring it on because I don't really give a crap. So anyway, so I was putting her, and then we found out that Tara D. Moorhead and the judge that was involved, the judge McGee, he got disbarred and stripped a long time ago for allegedly doing intimate stuff with people. Anyway, so that's all I can talk about on that. Okay, but the other two, they got disbarred maybe a year or so ago or whatever because it came out McIntyre was the guy's last name. They set him up and he spent 21 years in jail. And they knew that they lied. Everybody knew they lied. Tara Moorhead and Marietta Parker threatened his girlfriend to lie. They were going to lock her up and take her kid. And these people are dirty. They're nasty. I'm just saying. I know. Because I know what they did to a lot of people. Because it took me 33 months to get home. And Rule 12B or 6B, whatever, new evidence, I'm like, no. I don't like using their stuff for stuff. And in my head, that's state stuff anyway. So I don't use nothing. I don't like to go in with what they know you bring in. So I started doing some work, and it took me about a little ways over a week. Then I ran into the thing. Fraudulent concealment is a legal doctrine that tolls a statute of limitations. Have your attorney ever mentioned that to you? I don't think so. Well, I don't think attorney knows that. Fraudulent concealment tolls the statute of limitations. So what does that mean, Coach? Come on now, keep up. That means that you could bring your action against them at any time. It doesn't matter how long ago. There's no statute of limitations, which is what they use to protect themselves. They violate you, and then they hide, they run around, hide, they interfere, to slow you down with their little crap, and then, so see you. We just threw stuff out. You ran out of time. Oh, why would you have to worry about running out of time if you're getting violated? I know why that. We have a little situation over here, but we're getting it worked out. Okay, so fraudulent concealment tolls the statute of limitations, so you could bring your case anytime. It don't matter. Last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 100 years ago. It's a federal doctrine. Look it up. We use it as cause of action. And then you stick the counterclaim in their face without having to, it's a lot of fun. Now, with the counterclaim strategy, we have been able to skip past a bunch of documents that we were forced to get control of the state court process. We can skip past that now. And the same thing on federal, because you go through the same thing on federal. Federal statutes are non-valid laws. Don't have enacting clauses, titles, or bodies. Just like everybody thinks because it's federal, don't have enacting clauses, titles, or bodies. So how do you get it? Well, you do the same thing you do here. Well, if they're going to violate your due process, you're going to address the what. We address the what, not the why. We address the why they're going after you, because when you start addressing the what, it opens the door for arguing, and they kind of get to kick your butt. Once the arguing's done, everybody judge gets to help them. So this RICO package that we put together, we have 4 people now that are still in the house, and I'm thinking, well, 3 of them we have videos that, you know, one is Dr. Honigman, one is we have Dr. Honigman, and then we had Mr. Jones. He was the first one that we had, and then Nikki from New York. She stopped her process too. And, you know, when you go in with, you know, so now we don't have to, you know, charge. You can get yourself in the ring with $149. We changed the structure, how we're doing our business model. Instead of, I mean, we still have the lawsuit packages, because some places people ain't want to play, don't want to take no chances, and they just want to go in and just stomp him and move here and keep on stomping. Okay, but if you don't have enough money to do all that stomping, you can get what you need to do the stomp. And then you just got you got to keep your foot on the neck. Okay, sorry. We could be in the MMA or something. There's not just boxing where there ain't no foot on somebody's neck. Maybe we just in their administrative situation because we're tired of them putting their foot on our neck. Maybe that's the situation. It's possible. It's possible. I know I'm tired of them putting their foot on my neck, and I'm tired of saying the people I let them care about getting their foot. Okay, so the main lawsuit packages now: the prosecutor eliminated package, false arrest, fraudulent concealment, defamation. We coming to the table with some stuff right there. You got somebody you want to get out of jail? Jesse's home. Randall's home too, but you know, we kind of got Randall out around the thing, you know, because we had, you know, they got to listen to the phone calls, and then we tell people, if you got somebody locked up in jail, when they call, you need to tell their family that they need to go to winningcourtnow.com right there. Okay, winningcourtnow.com. Now, if they got some money, they can get the entire prosecutor package where y'all can have a lot of fun. If they don't, they can just get this RICO, get this lawsuit right here: false imprisonment, fraudulent concealment. That means that you can bring this and stick it in their face at any time down the road that you were arrested at any time. Oh, $149. Now, I don't have the page for this up yet. So if you need this, you need to call me. 913-240-0227. Call me and ask for the Coach Now. Tell them you need 2631. Commit 2631. It'll be $149. Commit 2631. $149 for a document, 31. $149 for the false arrest, false imprisonment, professional defamation, because you know your ass works somewhere, and fraudulent concealment. Oh, and due process violation. Bam, we throw that in on end. You know, and we could throw in some more, but you know, when you bring the facts to, you don't need to have 29,000 pages. I'm gonna throw that over there one more time. $149. Now, you want to stop this? I got this RICO package right here. The whole package is on sale for $300. Okay, that's a lot of money, especially when you gotta pay the file. You gotta pay. You know, all right, you know what? Just call me. $149. I'll email you the main document. The main document that you need. You don't have to have all of them. The supporting documents are $75. So if you need a supporting, but you don't need, because we're not here anymore to answer to their stuff. We're not here anymore to try and convince the judge or any of them of anything other than they about to get beat down for real. We're not here anymore. Our goal is stop the court process and sue their ass in another federal court. That's how we ain't here to play. And the counterclaim strategy that we use, and you can use this if they have a case against you for whatever. You don't even have to have the stuff right. I mean, the way I had this fit, and all right, so I'm gonna throw it on the table, and you can tell me what you think. If they come after you and you do a counterclaim in their case, you add the judge, because the judge is getting paid by the government. Okay, this, right? I mean, I played football and boxing in college about 1 million years ago. I mean, But I got the beat down part. I got that part down. The judge is the one that approves this. Okay, so you had the judge, and then you had the snitch. I mean, the attorney and prosecutor here is paid to add them as plaintiffs to your $200 million or 500, whatever the hell. Or you can just go 20,000 if you want. How long you been worried about this? Huh? How many nights have you laid in the bed awake worrying about this? How many times have you had to face your spouse have you figured out something yet? Well, or was it the fear of not realizing the reason why we had this picture? Because we got people stopping this. People had stopped this before it got to this. And Nicole, I don't think they showed up at her house, but the other 3 people that are still in their houses, the sheriff showed up, and Henry Jones 3 times. And Dr. Honig, man, I think once or twice. I'm not sure. I know that got kicked out of court in her wheelchair, talking trash to the judge. And I like, what? You got kicked out of court? I'm so proud of you. And everybody looking around at me like, what the? No. You get your ass kicked out of court, that's good, because that means you're pissing them off. And it also means that they're pissing you off. Oh, you wouldn't be getting pissed off if you was all scared. Yeah, Dr. Honig, man, this nice white girl, bam, she whipped out. Yeah, she said that, and she's in a wheelchair. Okay, I called the rolling chair, because I just refused to call it like she's in the rolling chair. And she said the judge told her to be quiet because this was a court of law. And Dr. Corey Honigman told the judge, Your Honor, this is a circus. She sent me the audio and I actually put it in the video of her, and so you could, And she said, this is a court of circus. I was really loving my job that day. And she told me, security ran in, and they ran right by her in her wheelchair with her finger, talking trash to the judge. This is a circus. This is a court of circus. Oh, yeah, I love it. Those are the people that I enjoy helping them the most because everybody does what they got to do. They did what they had to do, and now I'm doing y'all doing what y'all got to do. So we all doing what we got to do. And we got people that's preventing this. $149 now. You can get the main document for $149. Open up the email, copy and paste it in your own Word because you want to always save the file clean. And then fill in the placeholders. All you got to do is fill in the placeholders with the information that we're asking for. When you go after them for why they're able to violate you and not to what they did, everybody's stuff is the same. And I can tell you right now, until you understand that, you're facing this. Because you only want to talk about all this and the servicer did that and that you wasn't served and you're not in judicial court. They don't give a shit about any of the rules. Y'all, you know that already if you're even close to this. If you're in any court at all, you know they don't give a shit about the rules. So I learned at a very young age. And then what I went through when I was older, put the 2 things together. When one of the things they do to do that is fear. The fear, that's huge. That's huge. The fear. Everything they do is to bring the fear so they don't have to work so hard. They want you to just pack up and get your stuff out here before. That's why they got all these signs up all over the place. That's why they have all these realtors coming to your house and all that stuff before they even know. Now, I have had people in Texas who actually filed the foreclosure. Her name was B. I'll just go with the first name because anybody could be B. It could be B, B that flies with wings. Oh, and they filed it, but something happened and decided they wanted to pay it. So I told them I told her if she needs to make sure that she gets a new contract. If you pay and don't ask for a new contract, then I'm going to accept that money. It's not going to be a new because there ain't no new nothing until you get a new contract. You're not under the same contract because you're in default. When you go in default, that's a wrap. Nothing matters when you go into default. The contractual shit is all wrap. If you default, then you have no in the contract, and So if you go in and you pay, then they're going to say you're paying on that. Now, how do they benefit from that? Well, what they're going to do is they'll accept your money if you don't make them give you a contract or a receipt or the original instrument of indebtedness like the statute says they're supposed to do when they call in a full loan amount. If you don't do that, they're going to sell the debt to their buddies down the street, not too far down the street. And I'll tell you why. They're not going to sell too far down the street because the buddies that they sell to down the street need to be close to the same courthouse. Yeah, you follow me? Because what they're going to do is they're going to wait a little bit of time, and then they're going to just go into court, the same courthouse, and move for summary judgment. Well, wait, you paid. Did you get a receipt? I paid. And this is what happened to be. And luckily, there was another friend that knew her from interacting on one of our coaching, who was like a total badass, and she helped her. Okay, what saved B really and gave our other friend opportunity to help her get her, was the fact that she had already filed it, had a case number. She just hadn't served the parties. That saved her from having to start all over again and have them get the judgment to throw her stuff out when she thought she paid already and it was a wrap, and they went home and she's, oh, yeah. So now you see why I take this. I don't be playing. I already know how they roll and how they don't care. Okay, so think about it this way: when they run their scam on you, okay, this whole mortgage thing started when you sat down at the table and signed the lien. When you signed that lien and left the table, some other things happened that you didn't know about. Okay, so let's just start at the gate. You sat down and signed, so in order for somebody to sign the property over, all the owners would have to be present to sign the lien, right? Or whatever. The mortgage or the lien. So the fact that the alleged lender accepted the signature from the homeowner proves right there that the homeowner owned that property already, and I smell stink. Now, how does that, well, our debts in 1932 or 33 or whatever, sometime when they switched all this stuff around and screwed us over, were supposed to be paid. And whatever. And that's a whole complicated, like 39 million other videos. Okay, but just keep up with me. We don't have to go down the complicated side of the hill when all of the owners has to be present to sign that. Now, after you left the table, they stamp pay to the order of on it, and usually a bank vice president signs it, or Linda Green, or they're like robo-signers. There's another famous robo-signer. And then they process it through the Federal Reserve for electronic credits. Now, the first signature on there is the one that created the electronic credit that was created with that signature, is what they're calling the mortgage loan that they made you. It was generated with your own signature. When you left and they stamped paid to the order of on, and they signed it, and underneath says without recourse, whatever, they turned it into a security, like a huge check. And Modern Money Mechanics is a publication put out by, I don't know, these dudes that know way more about the fracking banking system, that's what it's called, than I do, said that they're granted 9 times the amount that went into a demand deposit account. 9 times. And then they wrote a check, one for that, you borrow money from HFC or one of these finance companies, they just give you the check. I wonder why they don't do that here. 9 times the amount that went into a demand deposit account. Okay, so come on, coach, let's go. We got more. Okay, then the state law for property transfer, all of your states, look that shit up, and it actually says it's not conveyed, yada, 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 until there's a bunch of other fancy words, until it's delivered, but they don't deliver it. Did they deliver your deed to your house? No, they mailed you a copy of a security to make you think that you're in charge of. If we did that to them, mailed them a copy to make them think that they'd be at the door, but it wouldn't be like this. Yeah, so they did what is called a constructive delivery, okay? The constructive delivery. That means that I looked it up. I looked it up because I don't be talking crap on nothing I don't look up and know myself, man. I don't just look it up in one place. Everything about that property before it was registered is never going to be discussed again, ever. What are we talking about? Well, once they register your property, they put it in one of their 3 classifications, which generally is agricultural, commercial, or residential. And residential actually means it's the property of a government official. Okay, but before that, it was your private property. So why did they? Because the Constitution says not once, but in two different places that they're not to tax private property. Well, actually, it says that if they're going to put a tax on private property, it has to be apportioned or something to that. That's what it actually said. Yeah, they're not what they're doing. No. As a matter of fact, we're having a property tax breakdown workshop on the 10th of this month. And I'm going to show you guys a little breakdown of, and when I show you, do you know the most expensive services that your city should be showing on their general budget statement that they're not showing? And there's some paying that. Judges, wait. How about the federal cases? The cases that start out in state court here and then get moved to federal court. They don't show that expense of here. They don't have a category for a lot of stuff. And after I went down that hole, I came out thinking, I started out going to make a blog. And now we're going to have a whole workshop. Because once you understand what the hell they're doing with your property tax money, you will totally understand why it keeps going up every year, totally out of control, with no explanation. All that makes sense to you. To y'all, I'm just saying. I got, So now you guys don't have to put up with this stuff, even if you don't have the $300. This package was $600, but I marked it down. Now we know how to stop the state court process by using federal case law in everything that we file in state court. And then they still can't answer to that when we move them. When we sue them in federal court, they still can't answer without having a federal bar card. Okay, so the property tax, there is a bigger situation than the property tax on your, most people don't realize that what the first illegal lien was that was filed against your property. Most people don't realize that. Most people say the property tax when it's not even property tax lien on the property. Most people don't know. Should we take a commercial break? So this program is brought to you by Most People Don't Know that the mortgage lien was the first illegal lien put against your property. Come on. Now I told y'all at the gate, now I'm not that smart, but again, the mortgage lien was the first illegal lien they put on your property. The property transfer statutes mandate that your property is supposed to be delivered. Your deed's supposed to be delivered to the property, but that's not what they registered it, whatever. Back in the day, before they start doing all this fancy dance shit with the computer and putting your stuff in the Registration of Deeds Association's office so that it can be linked with the land bank, so they can sell your shit to other people in other countries all over the world. Before they start doing that, and you old people can tell me if I got this right. Before that, people kept their deed in their gun box, in the fire safe where you kept all the stuff you didn't want to get burned up. Under your mattress. Some people kept their deed out in the backyard, buried in the garden somewhere. There was no requirement to let them take it and go put it in their office. And those days were simple. Anybody knock on your door wanting to take over your property? What about your deed? Before the one that I have. So hop your ass on off my property and let's go. Oh. So that's a deciding factor. The deciding factor is whether or not the date that it was registered. Oh, wait, the deed to the property doesn't give any control over anything. Oh, that whole thing is all in these bar attorneys' heads. It's all BS. It doesn't give anybody any control over anything. I mean, they're taking control, but legally it does not. Okay, so here's a $20 question. I grew up in the hood, $20. You can't walk around with too many zeros stuffing, Here's the question. If your deed was not registered in their office, would they be able to verify there was a mortgage lien against your property? I need somebody to leave a comment in the section down there because I don't know. The last time I mentioned this on Facebook, they got mad and they reported me. And then they call me a body part head. That's what they call me. I thought it was funny. Usually I get called some other stuff that starts with it. And I got called a body part. Anyway, so I think I probably should just move on from that. But that's, they get a little grumpy when you punch them in the face with the facts. Oh, yeah. They tell me, oh, well, show me how many cases. You mean with your case law? That's why you throw that shit on the table. Because I ain't win nothing anyway. Okay, my people ain't win nothing with your case law. The judge is the one that ruled on the case law. So how's that? Why am I gonna argue that? Wait, my legal team's starting out with the facts. Because that's the only thing. I can't understand the policies. I can't understand. I can understand the Constitution. I can understand that these corporations are in violation of the Administrative Procedures Act of 1946. And if you're gonna look this up, you better put 1946 on there. You're gonna be wasting your time reading Cornell Law Library, watered down BS. Okay. The Administrative Procedures Act of 1946 is a federal law that was enacted in when? Can you guess? Okay, 1946. And it mandates that these corporations are supposed to have their policies, their rules, and their policies and their procedures in line with the Constitution. Look it up. And they're not. Oh, that's a federal law that mandates that these bar members, these foreign agents, are supposed to have their policies and procedures in line with the Constitution. They're supposed to do all this stuff, whatever. We're still waiting for them. But, they ain't going to report each other because they're all networking together to help throw the rest of us under the bus. Well, we can do it. So what happens if you add the Foreign Agent Registration Act of federal law right in behind the fraudulent concealment before you get to the 42 U.S.C. 1983 stuff? The Tuckers Act actually came from the International Court of Trade a few years back. I was going to file a case over there because that's the only judicial court in my mind that's around anywhere. And the only reason that I studied this for a long time, the only reason in my head that court is still here is because when they switched over to statutes and codes, the fake ass statutes and codes that don't have enacting clauses, titles, or bodies, and dragged our asses in their administrative court, other countries knew that they're gonna be jammed, they're gonna get violated like we were. So they refused to do business with the United States, the federal government or United States, the fake whatever. So they had to keep that court. So, but they're trying to make like, no, we can't go in there. That court is for international stuff. It's for real shit. Your shit ain't real. I called them. After studying for around 2 weeks, I called them. I had their whole packet. I read all their stuff. And then, after going through ping pong back, he was trying to tell me I can't, I'm like, dude, I'm sending my shit anyway, so I didn't know what the hell you're talking about. I got your name right here, I kind of set his ass up. And when we're all done, so then I got to thinking, well, you know what? Why should I fight him? Well, I'm just going to pick out what I think is one of the most important things that can help. So we picked out the Tuckers Act. Now, there's the little Tucker and the big Tucker, but I don't specify. I just go in general. If they want to use up one of their opportunities or whatever to add, then no. But so the Tuckers Act strips them of their alleged qualified immunity. Okay, now it says qualified immunity, which means you have to qualify for that shit to have it. But so I go look it up. The words are that they have a qualified immunity for judicial functions. When they're not in judicial function, so they don't have any immunity. And the Tuckers Act is a federal law as well. And it strips them of their qualified immunity if they violate your due process of the state citizens or the Fifth Amendment. They don't like to see that. I know what you're thinking. Well, does that move you into the International Court of Trade court? Does that, no, our goal is to have them not want you in the court, okay? Because when they decide they want to have your ass in the court, they've already decided how that's going to go. Now, if you've been in court for something, I know when you walked out of there, you were thinking, oh, damn, they all had all that. They all had all that. Did I just get hosed again? Yeah, you did. And you might get burned if you have to jail after that. So and we also taking on a few custom jobs. So if you have somebody that you like to get out of jail, what I do is you have to invest in the sue the prosecutor lawsuit package, and then I charge an extra $800 on top of that to put the paperwork together myself, and I send them a copy of it with emails to everybody, whatever, and I send you a copy too to go down there and file and keep track of whatever. Now, when I do this, it's going to be you guys' job to keep track of everything. And if they figure out a way to respond or whatever, to get back with me and let me know or whatever, and then that's how. I don't have staff or time to keep track of every single thing. But, I got a little time now. I only take on a couple of people because I don't have time to take on a whole bunch of things. So if you're interested in getting somebody out of jail or stopping this, or, y'all know what I do. Call me up, get the premium package, because if you want me to do it, I need the premium package so I can have fun, because I ain't doing this if I can't enjoy it. Yeah. And so that's kind of how that works for custom work. So 913-240-0227. That's the number that you need. So we'll just put that puppy right in the thing there. Also, if you need the prosecutor package, if you was falsely arrested, I have a package for defamation. Yeah. I have a package. This package is actually on the website for foreclosure defamation. And the last I checked, it was like $75 or $50 or something. And they were having a hard time, And I had some older people who, so we decided, we came out with this. You're going after, okay, because look, this is how it goes. They violated, you were defamed. Okay, this defamation lawsuit is badass. You were defamed when they reported that you were in default before they got a judgment. Bam! All of that. Oh, wait, in the non-judicial, there wasn't no auction. They don't even, I've had people who got an assignment letter saying, we're your new people now, send us your money. So they sent the money to them. And then after a while, the other people said, where's our money? We sent it to the other people. They said, we don't know what you're talking about. But you know what? Just like in B's case, them other people ain't very far down the street, because they ain't trying to drive all the way across the country to have to go to court if you decide to drag her or have me out of court while they're trying to steal your stuff, okay? The other people are just down the street. We've learned a lot. The real-time feedback has helped us put together what we're doing right here. And as you can see, we don't play. So you need to have this done. I'm taking for this month right now. I see, do I have a job yet? Oh, yeah. I got one job. The new job that was thanks to Miss Jenny from Canada. She called me, and this other young man that has a YouTube channel, he's gonna interview me or whatever. I should interview him too. Okay, he actually, contacted me with a situation. He's a private banker, and they're jamming him up, trying to give him the beat down because they don't like people doing what he's doing. And my coach, Denny Harden, is a private banker too. And he was doing that, So now people have opportunity to take care of this problem without having to go through all of that stuff. We're going to help. And I've been doing just a little bit of research on how to do things in Canada, and the way my head works. I mean, I sent her a little bit of information that I told her today to let her know that, that we got a chance now. When you learn how, I'm not trying to get them to like agree and give you anything. Creates a whole new dynamic anyway. Our goal, I ain't trying to end the court process. I'm not trying to go before the judge and have a judge rule on anything. We ain't even trying to have a court process. Okay, we're gonna stack the facts on the table and bust the legs. Yeah, bust the legs on the table, smash the wood from when it hits the ground. When you come with the facts, it's right when you add them to their own stuff too, boy. I like doing that. Ain't nothing they can do but read it and weep, baby. We play a little rough, but we learned how to do that from getting punched in the face. So if you guys need something now, I'm also going to have, if you got a judge and you got evidence, or if you're recorded like Dr. Honigman did, audio or something, I'm going to charge $20, and you can email me your stuff, but you need to call me first, okay, so I can get your email, and I'll put your stuff in a playlist. I will have one for the judge, and then that way, put the judge's name and mention the judge in the description first, so the title and description are, match, And then after some point in time, their videos start pulling up underneath their websites. That's the video beat down that. That's what I call it. The internet said I should call it production of evidence or something like that. I like the video beat down. Because you can go to the YouTube channel and punch in Judge Annie T. Christoph, and then you can see that's how we learned how to do that. We posted some videos of her illegal action that she was doing in Shelby County, Tennessee. And see, one day I went to go find a picture of her for another post I was making, and I pulled up the federal court's website, and there was a big old picture of Judge Annie T. Christoph, and then right underneath her picture was our video from my YouTube channel. And the metadata, which is the information that you see looking in the page before you click on it, the metadata said Judge Annie T. Christoph being sued for helping fellow bar members. Bang! Yeah, so I screenshot that puppy dog and saved that. And made a video and sent them a video of. I sent it to Judge Christoph and all of the other people over there that don't like me. And so my friend Carrie was looking one day to pull it up, and it was gone. Poof. But I told her not to worry because I saved it. In the next video, I showed that it was gone. And then I showed it open from the middle of the page. Bam, there you go. For anybody who missed it the first time, there you go. I had to get my book up, and my friend's book she wrote. And it's just a little tiny taste of what we went through to put us in a position to be grumpy asses to do what we're doing. Shattered by Corruption. It's a bestseller on Amazon. That picture actually was taken years ago when I went to visit her when she was locked up. So we were smiling then, but you guys can get that on Amazon. Yeah, my son wrote a book too. And I like to promote his book as well, but I wasn't organized today because I'm blaming it on Lily, but she's asleep down there right now, so I probably should leave her alone. So you guys need something, call me, and then when I get busy, then I'll have to tell you that I'm busy, but until I get busy, call me. And we got like 4 people that's still in the house that I actually helped, and I need to give myself 4 video reviews for that. Yeah, I need to do that, but not now. I'm getting hungry, so we're going to get out of here, and thank you guys for the value of sharing your time. We're going to throw that puppy dog right back up there again. If you was falsely arrested, call me. And Coach, I need 2631. All right, guys. Bam. Time to get out of here. Let's go.